Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and it's around about Christmas time. Apparently this is going up on Christmas Eve, but you never know, plans change. Regardless, I hope you're having a very lovely holiday period. And if I do sound a little bit croaky, it's because I'm having a very lovely holiday period. But what I want to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is go over the list of the top 10 most valuable full art Pokemon that we've got in the game right now. The more time goes by, the more I am legitimately loving full art Pokemon. I just like the design of them. They are just cool. And if, like me, you are loving these full art Pokemon, I have got wonderful, wonderful news for you, ladies and gentlemen. These are starting to get cheap. The price of these is dropping wonderfully, and especially at the lower end of this list, because there are a few that stand out at the top, but especially at the lower end of this list, there are many, many cards very close together. So there are 3 that just missed that I'm putting at about $11. Prices from TCG Player and eBay and a few other places, just kind of having a look around. And that includes Dragonite. It's a popular Pokemon. And let's not forget that actually we like Dragonite, especially in the expanded format. Dragonite is a very good card that we like very much indeed. We've also got Flareon and Vaporeon that are 2 of the full art evolutions that came around in Evolving Skies. And spoiler alert, this list is absolutely dominated by Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies gives us by far the largest number of Pokemon on this list. If you want good full art supporters that can hold a little bit of value, Evolving Skies is where it's at. Although to be fair, Evolving Skies itself is getting quite expensive, so honestly it might be easier to just go and pick up some of these singles. Neither Vaporeon nor Flareon have proven to be particularly playable. This is very much just a case of people love those evolutions. Also ones that just missed, we've got Glacion and Espeon, and this is basically the same as I just said for Flareon and Vaporeon. They just missed because they're not good. In terms of cards, at least. Cards-wise, they're not very good. Pokemon, they are very popular. People love the evolutions. And to be fair, Espeon V Max has proven to be a very good tech. First stopping things like dropping damage counters, and has seen up on special conditions as well, I suppose, more recently. And it has actually seen a bunch of play, although weirdly enough that was in Fusion Strike, not in Evolving Skies. So there is an argument here for Espeon actually being like a legit playable card. But I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, nah. And actually, let me be clear, the fancy version of Espeon was in Fusion Strike. The regular was actually in Evolving Skies. Apologies if there was any confusion there. So what actually did make the list? Well, in at number 10, we've got a card that isn't even from Evolving Skies at all. It is Galerian Moltres, coming in at around about $12. And yes, I know that is nominally the same as Glacion and Espeon. The tiebreakers here are very slight, and honestly there is a decent chance at this stage that by the time a lot of you listen to this, it may well have changed and the order may have been flicked around a bit. But right now, this is coming in at number 10. It is the Galerian Moltres that came around in Chilling Reign. And firstly, people like Galerian Moltres. I mean, really, it's a special art that people go crazy for, but the full art's kind of cool. But it's also a very playable card. Now, admittedly, it's largely good as a counter to Mew, and I do believe it's fair to say we've had better Mew counters printed since. But it's still a very cool card that people like. It still sees a little bit of play here and there, although let's be clear, it used to be like a full-on staple in a whole bunch of decks. It's now an occasional tech. It has very much fallen off. But still, people like it, and it comes in about $12. In at number 9, also at about $12, you've got yourself Jolteon. And this really is the evolution thing. Again, we're still in Evolving Skies here. The deal here is very simple. People like evolutions. Jolteon, there was a point where Jolteon was like a legit good deck. It was, for a while, my actual favourite deck for just random laddering on PTCGO. If I was sitting down of an evening playing a bunch of games of PTCGO, Jolteon was a really fast, fun deck to play, and it did see a bit of success in tournaments. That time was a while ago. We're not there anymore, ladies and gentlemen. This now just exists as a rather popular Pokemon and not much else more. In at number 8, we've got Leafeon, comes in at $13. Now, I actually really like Leafeon as a Pokemon. It's got the ability Greening Salves, that lets you search for a grass energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. It's really cool in that regard, and it does see a bit of play here and there, although largely in rogue decks, but still a decent card. Plus, you combine that with Evolution, and that's why Leafeon ends up on this list. In at number 7, we've got Rayquaza. Again, we're talking about $13 here. And Rayquaza is a similar kind of thing. People adore Rayquaza. Rayquaza is in the proper top level of Pokemon that people love. It is right up there with the evolutions. People are big Rayquaza fans. There was quite a long period where I was absolutely convinced the Rayquaza VMAX was going to be a really good Pokemon because it's got an attack that can deal huge damage and because it's got a draw power ability. I was wrong. Rayquaza's never ended up being good, but it's still a full-art Rayquaza card and people still love Rayquaza. In at number 6, we've got Sylveon, and Sylveon is one that I absolutely adore. It's got a kind of similar ability we see to Leafeon. It's got the ability Dream Gift, lets you search your deck for an item card, put it into your hand. It's great turn 1 going first when you're not allowed to attack. It's great when you're absolutely stuck and you've got nothing going on. I just really like Sylveon, honestly. Again, we have seen Sylveon VMAX be good in the past. We saw it top cut the European International Championships last year. Very much enjoyed casting that one. Unfortunately, that time has passed, and Sylveon is not good anymore. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. In at number 5, we've got Pikachu at about $13. Now, I need to be very clear on this one. This is the Pikachu from Vivid Voltage. This is not the Pikachu from Brilliant Stars. The Pikachu from Brilliant Stars does not make this list, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Pikachu from Brilliant Stars does not even really get close to this list. This is very much the Pikachu from Vivid Voltage, and only the Pikachu from Vivid Voltage. Little bit sad, but I don't know, maybe Brilliant Stars is newer, maybe people like the Pikachu from Vivid Voltage better. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence. Either way, this one gets on the list, and it is not a playability thing, right? This is very much a case of, it's Pikachu. People adore Pikachu. For what it's worth, I do think it is a better full art, but is there really that much difference between them artwork-wise? I mean, honestly, if you're really after a full art Pikachu, the one from Brilliant Stars is still very cheap right now, so a recommendation from me that maybe it's worth going after. Now, number 4 is where we start seeing a tiny bit of separation. We've got Mew coming in at about $15. Now, partly, and you'll notice this list is just full of super popular Pokemon. Mew is a super popular Pokemon. Shouldn't surprise anyone that it's coming up on the list. But Mew VMAX remains one of the very, very best decks in the game. We've got very good counters to it, and yet it's not going away. That's not to say that it is absolute unquestioned number 1 or anything stupid like that. It is to say it's a good deck that is very much worth playing. And for that reason, people are all over it, it's doing well, and that means that Mew is always going to be a bit more popular, because it's a cool full art of Pokemon, which is really good right now. And yes, I know we've got the fancy special art version of it you may wish to play instead, but that was really expensive. So if you want a fancy but fairly cheap version, hey, this one's got your back. In at number 3, we've got the full art of Lugia, only just come out in Silver Tempest. And again, like every Pokemon on this list, this is really just a who's who of popular Pokemon. People adore Lugia. But also, you may have noticed that Lugia V-Star is good right now. Like, really, properly, intensely, over-the-top, awesome good. So yeah, that's going to make people want the full art. Like we just said with Mew, there is a special art version of Lugia you can go for here. But this one is absolutely ridiculous. It is one of the most expensive cards in the entire game right now. And I don't think most people are going to want to go and buy a playset of it to play with. So you know what? $18 each, buy a playset of these? Yeah. I think for a lot of players that is going to be preferable. In at number 2, we've got Umbreon. It's only $21. It's number 2 and it's only $21. Like I've said, the price of these full arts is coming down and I am loving it. Now, this is very much not a playability thing. Umbreon VMAX does have a really nice ability that lets you gust, and saw a bit of play for a while. It has very much fallen out of favour. No one's really playing it nowadays. This is just very simply a case of, hey, it's Umbreon. Umbreon is the most popular of the evolutions, and that is really saying something. So yeah, full art version of that, why not? And then in at number 1, it's Charizard. Obviously, it's Charizard. It's always Charizard. And I'm sorry if it's not very exciting that it's always Charizard. I don't make the cards. I do make the list, but I only make the list off of the data. I don't make the data. Charizard's number 1, and it's $30, which is, about 50% higher than number 2. Charizard is number 1, and it's honestly not even really that close. Once again, if we're talking value, this absolutely pales in comparison to the Special Art Charizard, and even then, the English version kind of pales in comparison to the Japanese version. And thankfully, I've pulled the Japanese version, but not the English version, which honestly, right now, I feel pretty good about. So there we go. Charizard's number 1, Umbreon's number 2, and after that, it does fall off pretty quickly. Lugia number 3 is worth mentioning. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're after these full art Pokemon, they are not all going to stay low forever. As we go into the Scarlet and Violet series and Pokemon start doing different things with cards, these full arts, some of them will end up getting very expensive. So if you want to be picking up some of these cheaply, now's a pretty good time to do so. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this. I want to know which ones of these you've pulled. I want to know which ones of these you've got. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat with us about various things. And you can get shout-outs on the channel. Like the lovely Matt DS, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now, and is a very lovely person indeed. So thank you very much for all the support, and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.